The scream ripped through the underground car park like breaking glass beneath flickering strip lights. A woman in a Burberry coat lay twisted against a black Mercedes, blood spreading dark across concrete. The child couldn't have been more than 8 years old, crouched over her mother's body, small hands shaking. "Mummy, wake up please, I'm scared, don't leave me." 3 men in expensive suits stood watching. One checked his watch. She needed to learn her place. A voice cut through the shadows, cold as steel. "Funny thing about bullies, they never expect someone to hit back." A man in work overalls stepped out from behind a concrete pillar, lunchbox still in his hand. He set it down slowly, his face empty of everything except focus. In 4 seconds flat, all 3 men were on the ground, one clutching his knee, another gasping for air, the third simply unconscious. The man knelt beside the woman, his hands steady and sure as he checked her pulse. "You're gonna be all right, love, I've got you." When the overhead light caught his face, covered in sweat and concentration, he was someone Charlotte had destroyed 3 years ago. That man was Oliver Hayes, 39 years old. He used to run safety operations at Thornberry Industrial, where Charlotte Thornberry was chief executive 3 years back. He took the fall for an accident that wasn't his fault, stepped up to protect his team from corporate blame. They sacked him anyway. Now Oliver shared a cramped flat with his daughter Rose, 9 years old, a quiet girl who carried the faded first aid kit he'd given her everywhere. She went every morning before school. Rose asked the same question, "Papa, if someone's hurt and nobody else is there, what do I do?" "You help them, sweetheart, but you stay safe first. It's not about being brave, it's about not walking past." That Thursday afternoon, those words came back to him sharp and clear. When Oliver heard a child screaming for help in that brutal concrete car park, he didn't think, he just moved. Save Charlotte, get her and her daughter Lily to the ambulance. When Charlotte opened her eyes, the ambulance ceiling swam above her, all harsh white light and the smell of antiseptic. The first face she saw was his, and something in her chest cracked open. "You still know how to save people," she whispered. "Never forgot how little." Lily grabbed her mother's hand tight, her voice breaking. "Mummy, he saved you, he saved us." Oliver just nodded once. He left behind his old security pass, blood dried brown on the plastic, lying on the stretcher beside her. Then he walked away into the rain. 3 days later, Charlotte found the garage where he worked now. No corner office, no power, just him under a car covered in oil. His daughter Rose sitting cross-legged nearby, drawing pictures in a notebook. "I came to say thank you," Charlotte said. He didn't look up. "Thanks won't fix what's broken. Why did you help me?" "Because once I didn't get there fast enough and someone died." Rose looked up from her drawing. "Is the lady okay now, Papa?" Oliver glanced at Charlotte standing there in her designer clothes, looking lost now. "She is." That night Charlotte sat alone in her Kensington office, the old security pass in her hands. She opened her desk drawer, placed it next to the photo of her and Lily. The pass was worn, the edges soft from years of use, his blood still marked one corner. She ran her thumb across his name, Oliver Hayes, safety director, the title she'd ripped away from him. Outside the window, London glowed cold and indifferent, and for the first time in 3 years she wondered if she'd been wrong, not just about sacking him, but about everything she thought mattered. Not policies in boardrooms, not quarterly reports, not reputation, but people like Oliver who ran toward screaming children while everyone else ran away. She closed the drawer, the pass hidden, but impossible to forget. The next morning she went back to the garage with coffee and pastries. Oliver wasn't surprised to see her. "I looked at your file," Charlotte said. "The accident that got you fired, you saved a man's life that day and broke protocol doing it. The protocol was wrong." He wiped his hands on a rag. Meeting her eyes, "Finally you signed the papers yourself." "I know." Her voice cracked. "I know I did." Rose peeked around a toolbox, then ran over grinning. "Papa, is this the brave lady you rescued?" Charlotte knelt down, shaking her head. "Your papa's the brave one, darling." "I know," Rose said simply. "He saves everyone." A week later Charlotte came back, this time with enough coffee and food for all of them. Rose burst out the door smiling wide. "Miss Charlotte, Papa says you're the bravest person he ever saved." Charlotte laughed, and it surprised her how good it felt. Ethan looked over. "She's exaggerating." "No, she's not," Charlotte said. "First time anyone's called me brave without it being in a press release." The 3 of them sat together in the garage, autumn sun slanting through the open door, warm and gold. Lily and Rose sat in the corner making paper cranes, their heads bent together, whispering. "Uncle Oliver," Lily asked, "did you save lots of people?" His smile was sad. "Not enough, but there's one I wish I'd got to faster." Charlotte went very still. "Who? My mate trapped in a chemical fire. I was 30 seconds too late." She stared at his hands, the scars that covered them. "So I fired someone like you?" He said nothing that night. She pulled the old files, found the truth buried under corporate language and legal protection. He'd been sacked for saving a worker against direct orders. That person lived, but Oliver was blamed for disrupting operations. Charlotte looked at her own signature on the termination letter, confident, bold. The signature of someone who thought she knew everything she'd known nothing. The next morning she was waiting at the garage before dawn, sitting in her car until the lights came on. When Oliver arrived, Rose holding his hand, Charlotte was standing by the door. "I owe you twice," she said. "No, just once." "What about the other time? You gave me a reason to leave a place that was killing my soul." Rose tugged Charlotte's sleeve. holding up an orange paper crane. Miss Charlotte, this one's for luck. Charlotte took it like it was made of glass. Thank you, darling. She smiled, but tears ran down her face. Lily came over with her own crane. Mummy, we made hundreds. The two girls giggled, holding up strings of paper birds in every color. Oliver watched Charlotte fold the orange crane carefully and slip it into her diary. You keep that, he said. Rose made it special. I will, Charlotte whispered. Over the next few weeks, Charlotte kept coming back, sometimes with Lily, sometimes alone. She learned that Oliver had been teaching Rose emergency first aid since she was 5, how to stop bleeding, how to check airways, how to stay calm when everything's falling apart. Why so young? Charlotte asked one day. Because the world doesn't wait, he said. Better she knows now than wishes she did later. One evening, Lily asked if she could learn too. Oliver hesitated, looked at Charlotte. Please, she said quietly, teach her. So the four of them sat together as the sun went down, Oliver showing the girls how to wrap a bandage properly, how to tell if someone's breathing, how to call for help. The most important thing, Oliver said, is don't panic. If you panic, you can't help anyone. Rose nodded. Seriously, that's what Papa always says. Lily copied her, nodding to stay calm, don't panic. Charlotte watched them, and something opened up in her chest. Safety, not the kind in policy documents, but the kind that meant knowing someone would catch you if you fell. That night, after Lily was asleep, Charlotte sat on her sofa holding the orange paper crane. She thought about Oliver's hands, scarred and rough hands that had pulled people from fires, stopped bleeding, saved lives, hands she'd forced out the door. She unfolded the crane, slowly read Rose's message inside. Brave people help even when they're scared. Charlotte refolded it with shaking hands, put it back in her diary, and cried. The next day at work, during a board meeting, someone joked about safety regulations costing too much. Charlotte stood up. Safety isn't a cost, it's the only thing that matters. And if we can't understand that, we don't deserve to run this company. The room went silent. She walked out, didn't wait for a response. For the first time in her career, she didn't care. That evening, she showed up at Oliver's flat with Chinese takeaway. I stopped caring today, she announced. Thought we'd celebrate. Oliver raised an eyebrow. Stopped caring about what they think. When I do the right thing, he smiled properly. This time took you long enough. Rose cheered. Does this mean you can have dinner with us more? Yes, darling, a lot more. Lily hugged her tight. I like it here, Mummy. It feels like home. Charlotte looked around the small flat. Nothing matched. Toys everywhere, drawings stuck to the walls with tape. It was nothing like her minimalist penthouse, but Lily was right. It felt more like home than anywhere she'd ever lived. 1 month later, the headlines exploded. CEO Charlotte Thornberry in bed with disgraced former employee. The board called for her head. The company buzzed with rumors. Oliver heard it on the news, showed up at her office that afternoon. They're coming for you, he said. I know. Her voice was exhausted. But if I stay quiet, they win. He looked at her straight. Silence is just another way of lying. Fighting back will destroy you. She smiled tiredly. I've lost everything before. There's nothing left to be afraid of. That night, Oliver picked Rose up from school. Noticed 2 men watching Charlotte's house. He took Rose to a neighbor's, then went back. By the time he got there, Charlotte's window was smashed. 2 men inside tearing the place apart. Lily was crying, holding on to her mother. We warned you, Thornberry. One laughed. Where are the files? Oliver's voice came from the doorway. Right here. He tossed a folder on the floor, stepped inside. Light from the hall behind him, his eyes flat and cold. In 8 seconds, both men were down, tied up with electrical cord. Charlotte stared at him, shaking. You did this for me? No, for Rose. I don't want her seeing good people get hurt. While everyone watches, the police came. Oliver gave a statement. The men were part of a group burying evidence of safety violations that had killed people. Charlotte had found the files weeks ago, had been building a case quietly. Now she had no choice. The next morning, she called a press conference, released everything, documents showing the board had covered up accidents, paid off victims, silenced whistleblowers like Oliver, fired anyone who asked questions. The room exploded, cameras flashing, voices shouting. Charlotte stood there calm. I was part of this. I signed the papers. I fired good people. I chose not to ask questions. I'm as guilty as any of them. A reporter shouted, are you resigning? They already pushed me out, but I'm not running. I'm staying to face what I've done. When she left the room, Oliver was waiting in the corridor. You didn't have to confess to things you didn't know about. Yes, I did. I signed my name. I should have asked questions. I chose not to look. He nodded slowly. That takes guts. I learned it from you. You ran toward danger. When I ran from the truth, they stood in the quiet hallway, the chaos behind them fading. What now? Charlotte asked. Now we rebuild. Oliver met her eyes. You think I'm letting you do this alone? Something broke in Charlotte's chest, not painful, but like ice melting. Why do you keep helping me? Because Rose is watching, and I want her to see that good people don't give up on each other. The next few weeks were brutal. Charlotte lost her job, her reputation shredded, but something strange happened. Workers from Thornberry started coming forward, sharing stories, thanking her. One man stopped her outside a cafe. You fired me 4 years ago, thought you were heartless, but what you did last week, that took real courage. Thank you. Charlotte watched him walk away, tears in her eyes. Oliver found her on a bench staring at nothing. You okay? I thought losing everything would feel worse. How does it feel? Like I can breathe. He sat beside her. That's because you're not carrying lies anymore. I don't know what to do next. Yes, you do. You just haven't said it yet. She turned to him. What? Build something real, not for money, for people. That night, Charlotte pulled out a notebook, started writing a training center for workplace safety, first aid. Emergency response, not just teaching skills but changing how people think. She called it Phoenix Safety Academy. When she showed Oliver, he studied the plans. This is good, really good, but you'll need money you don't have and trust you've lost. I know, so why do it? Because it's right and I'm done choosing what's easy over what matters. Oliver looked at her for a long moment, then held out his hand. Count me in, you don't have to. I know, but I'm in. They shook hands. Partners built from wreckage. The old Charlotte, the one who cared about power and image, was gone. Someone harder and realer stood in her place, and for the first time she felt like someone worth being. Lily and Rose made a banner for the new center covered in drawings of people helping each other. At the bottom in Rose's handwriting, heroes are just people who don't walk away. Charlotte hung it up. Every time doubt crept in, she looked at those words, remembered the girl who wrote them had a father who lived them, a father she'd thrown away, a father who came back not for her, but because that's who he was. She promised herself never again would she confuse power with worth or silence with peace. The Phoenix Safety Academy wouldn't be about her redemption, it would be proof that broken things can be rebuilt stronger. 6 months later, they opened the doors, a small building in a working-class area, nothing fancy, just clean, bright, welcoming. Charlotte ran operations. Oliver taught the classes. Rose and Lily covered the walls with drawings. Opening day, morning sun poured through the windows, lighting up the sign above the door, anyone can save someone. First class had 12 people, builders, teachers, parents, people who wanted to know how to help. Oliver stood in front of them, steady, confident. I'm not here to make you heroes, I'm here to teach you what to do when someone needs help, and you're all they've got. Charlotte watched from the back, her heart full. This was what she'd been looking for her whole career, not success, not money, purpose. After class, a young woman stayed behind. Hayes, I wanted to say my brother died in an accident 3 years ago. Nobody knew first aid. If they had, maybe. Her voice broke. Oliver put a hand on her shoulder gently. I'm sorry, but you're here now, and that means next time someone won't be alone. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Thank you. After she left, Charlotte came over. You're good at this. It's not about being good, it's about showing up. She smiled. Still, you're good at showing up. Over the weeks that followed, the academy grew. More classes, more students. Word spread. Charlotte started teaching to not rescue skills, but how to build systems that protect people. She spoke anywhere that would listen. I spent 20 years in business, she'd say. I learned to manage risk on paper, but I never learned to see the people behind the numbers. Don't make that mistake. One evening after a long day, she found Oliver outside watching the sunset. She sat beside him. You okay? Just thinking how different everything is. A year ago I was fixing cars, wondering if I'd made the right choices, and now I'm doing what I was always meant to do. Just took the long way round. Charlotte leaned her head on his shoulder. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For not giving up on people. Even when they gave up on you. He didn't answer, but his hand found hers, fingers lacing together. They sat quiet, watching the sky turn gold. Inside, Rose and Lily were cleaning up, singing a song they'd made up about ambulances. Through the window, they looked like sisters, different worlds brought together by something stronger than blood. That night, Charlotte helped Lily with homework. Mom, do you like Uncle Oliver? Of course, darling, he's a good friend. No, I mean, do you like him? Charlotte met her daughter's eyes. Is it that obvious? Lily grinned. Mom, you smile different when he's around. Different how? Like you're not pretending, you just are. When did you get so smart? Learned from the best. Next morning, Charlotte woke early, went for a walk. Her limp was gone. The attack felt like another life. She stopped at a florist, bought 2 bunches, one for the academy, one for Oliver. When she arrived, he was already there setting up. You're early, couldn't sleep. She handed him the flowers. These are for you. He looked surprised. What's the occasion? No occasion, just thank you. Charlotte, you don't need to keep thanking me, I know, but I want to. He set the flowers down, faced her. Can I ask you something? Anything? Why are you really doing this? The academy, the classes, all of it. Is it guilt? She thought about it at first. Maybe, but not now. Now it's because I finally get what I was missing. Connection, meaning the feeling that what I do matters to real people, not spreadsheets. He nodded. And you're happy getting there, are you? Yeah, I think so. Rose burst through the door, backpack bouncing. Miss Charlotte, look what we made. She held up a painting for people holding hands under a rainbow. That's us, Lily announced behind her. Oliver and Charlotte looked at each other, smiled. Yes, Oliver said quietly, that's us. That evening after the last class, they sat on the floor eating pizza from boxes. 4 people who'd found each other in the ruins. Rose leaned against her father, Lily against her mother, and Charlotte understood this was home, not a place. Feeling the feeling of being exactly where you belong. 1 year after opening, the Phoenix Safety Academy won an award for community service. Charlotte walked straight now, smiled easy, gave a speech. Some people save lives because it's their job, she said, but some do it because they still believe the world's worth saving. I'm lucky I learned the difference. Oliver sat in the audience smiling. After the ceremony, both girls ran up, hugging them. Miss Charlotte, Uncle Oliver, we made another sign, a banner showing a small house with 1 word above it, home. Charlotte knelt, tears in her eyes. Oliver interrupted gently, not need, want. She looked up at him, understanding flooding through. Want, she repeated. He held out his hand. She took it. Morning light streamed through the windows, their reflection in the glass. 4 people together below. A plaque read, family isn't where you're born, it's where you choose to stay, and keep choosing every single day. A breeze moved the paper crane Rose had hung by the door, light dancing across it, making it seem alive. I don't need saving anymore, Charlotte said quietly. I've already been saved. Oliver squeezed her hand. We saved each other inside. Lily and Rose were already plotting their next project, giggling. They're planning something, Charlotte said. Always. Oliver smiled. Should we worry? Probably. They stood watching their daughters, two people who'd lost everything, two girls who'd seen them broken, and somehow from the wreckage they'd built something beautiful, not perfect, never perfect, but real. And there's that night after the girls fell asleep in the back room. Charlotte and Oliver sat outside under stars. Do you regret it? She asked. Getting fired? Everything. He was quiet. I regret the people I couldn't save. I regret not standing up sooner, but getting fired. He looked at her. No, because it brought me here to a place where what I do matters to people I care about too. He paused. To you? Charlotte's breath caught. Oliver, you don't have to. I just wanted you to know. No, she turned to face him. I wanted to say it too. I was just scared of losing this, of breaking what we built. He took both her hands. Charlotte, what we built can hold this too. She laughed, crying. When did you get so wise? Had a good teacher. She taught me it's never too late to begin again. They kissed, soft, careful, like something precious inside. Rose woke, peeked out, saw them, smiled, nudged Lily. Look, finally. Should we tell them? No way, grown-ups are weird. They giggled, went back to sleep, happy their family was complete. Outside, Charlotte rested her head on Oliver's shoulder. Think we're doing this right. I think we're doing it real. That's better. She smiled. I'll take that. Above them, stars wheeled across the sky. Below, two girls dreamed of paper cranes and heroes who stayed between them. Two people who'd saved each other, not through grand gestures, but by showing up, choosing each other, choosing this life, choosing love, not because they had to, but because they wanted to, and that made everything different. If you believe stories like this matter, please leave a comment and subscribe to Whispers of Light. We share the stories that deserve to be remembered.